everybody, we have got a new type of video to do today, and we are going to do something a little bit fun, a little bit different today on the channel. We are going to do a completely randomized NFL season featuring these 32 helmets and this one die. So basically how it's going to work here is that for every team that goes up in the order that they're on right here, I will roll this die, and then I will mark it down here. And the lower number they get, the worst season they have in this randomized league. At the end of everybody getting rolled, I will make a playoff bracket based on the scores that they got. They're already in their divisions, so that makes it a little bit easier for me. So at the end of the day, we'll have not only a playoff bracket, but a complete draft line as well. So anyway, without further ado, a lot less explaining to do. Let's get on with it. We're starting off with the Broncos. So anyway, let's see what the Broncos roll. They get a 3. So where's the Broncos? They're right here. 3. Next up, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's put the Broncos over there. Tampa Bay is up now. Let's see what they get. They get a 7. So they're right here. 7. Next up, we got the Washington Commanders. Got the old Redskins helmet. Let's see what they get. They get an 11. That's a really good roll. Commanders 11. I did 2 test runs, and the Commanders won a Super Bowl in one of them, so that's pretty cool for them. See if they can do the same thing. We got the Texans here. Let's see what they get. They also get an 11. A great season for the Texans. 11. Next up, we got the boys from Carolina, the Panthers. Let's see what they get. They get a 1. That is not a good season for the Panthers. So now you know it's not scripted, because the Panthers got a terrible roll. Next up, we got the Detroit Lions, and they get a 3. So that ties with the Broncos. 3. Next up, we got their NFC North rival, the Packers. Let's see what the Packers got. They got an 8. So, better season than the Lions for sure. They got an 8. Next up, we got the 49ers. Have the 49ers being in the playoffs again next year and winning their division. Let's see what they get in this randomized league, though. That looks like a 9. Which makes sense, because the number 9 is in the team name. Next up, we got the Steelers. See what the Steelers get. Steelers get a 12. Dang. Great season for the Steelers, it looks like, in this randomized league. That's a 13. Next up, we got their division rival, the Baltimore Ravens. They get 5. Thinking about re-rolling for a second, but I decided to not do that just because it didn't really roll that much. Anyway, we got Jacksonville up next, looking for a head coach in real life. They get an 11 in this league, and that ties them with the Texans. So great AFC South matchup. We might have to do a tiebreaker for that one to see who wins the division. Anyway, now we got the Chiefs. The Chiefs get a 12 because, of course, they're the Chiefs. Next up, we got the New York Jets. And they get a 3. Not a great season for the Jets. But you know what? That usually happens, so that'll be it for them. Next up, we got another team from that division, the Bills. Let's see what the Bills get. The Bills get, I believe that's a 5. Next up, we got a third AFC East team, the Miami Dolphins. Not a great season for the AFC East so far. Let's see if the Dolphins can change that, and they can. They get a 3. Next up, we got the Cleveland Browns. Let's see what the Browns end up getting. The Browns get a 1. Starting to think that nobody can really catch the Steelers unless the Bengals can do something about it later on when they're picked second to last. Next up, we got Minnesota and the Vikings. The Vikings get, I believe that's a 6. 6. Next up, we got the Giants. And they get an 11. Good season for the New York Giants. And they're also in a heated rivalry with the Commanders. Next up, we got the Seahawks. They get a 6. Had to hold the paper in place there. That's why it got so close to the camera. Next, we got Dem Boys. Let's see what they get. They get a 5. And the Dallas Cowboys, they're right here. Safe to say they're probably not making the playoffs in this simulation. Next up, we got the Colts. 2 more teams left from the AFC South. The Colts get an 11 as well. Dang. We got a 3-way race for the AFC South at the moment. 3 11s. Next up, we got the Saints. See if they can do better than the Bucks and Panthers have done. And they have. That is a 10. So the Saints in the lead of the NFC South at the moment. Next up, we got the Chargers. Los Angeles Chargers. And they get a 12. Good news for the 7 Chargers fans that exist. And we got the Patriots. I believe this is the first division to be completely full of all of them so far, which is weird because we have 3 NFC West teams left to do. Actually, no, we have 2. My bad. All right. Patriots get a 7. And let's see. And that is enough to win the AFC East. So that's a playoff spot, even though it was pretty bad. Next up, we got the Las Vegas Raiders. Can the Raiders tie the Chiefs and Chargers, who both have 12s? And they can't because they got a 1. It's a very split division down there in the West. Next up, we got the Rams. Let's see what the Rams can do here. They get a 3. So it's looking like the Niners are probably going to win that division. Next up, we got the Falcons. They got to get a 10 or higher to even have a chance. Oh, they get a 9. So close, yet so far for the Atlanta Falcons. Next up, we got the Arizona Cardinals. And they're going to get a 12. And with that, they win the NFC West and probably the entirety of the NFC. Because so far, they're the only NFC team with a 12. But let's see if the Bears have something to say about that. They don't. They roll a 5. And that will make them last in the North. And with that, the Packers officially win the NFC North in this randomized simulation. We got 3 teams left before the playoffs. The Eagles are up next. They get an 11. And oh my God, there are 3 teams tied for that division. All right, 2 teams left. We got the Cincinnati Bengals up here. Let's see if they can beat the Steelers. They can't. It's a 7, but they'll finish second in the division anyway. That is good enough for second. So the Steelers with a commanding win of the AFC North. And the final team is the Tennessee Titans, the team that has the first overall pick in real life. Can they get a 12 and clutch up this division? No, it is a 7. All right, so that'll do it. That's all the records. Now time to do some tiebreakers here. The first one is the big 3-way battle for the AFC South between the Jaguars, the Colts, and the Houston Texans. Let's see what goes on here. So we're going to write another... How this is going to work is we're going to roll again once for each team, and whichever has the highest number at the end wins the division. So anyway, the Jaguars get a 7. We're not going to write that down, actually. But the Jaguars have a 7. Let's see if the Colts can get any higher. They get an 8. So the Colts hold it right now. I just dropped the die on the floor. That doesn't count because it's not on the official playing box. Let's see. It's an 8 or higher for the Texans to win. And it's not going to happen. It's going to be a 5, which means the Colts win the AFC South. I'm going to put a little check mark there, though. And the Jaguars, I'll put a 2nd place with a box. And the Texans, I'll put a 3rd place with a box. There's a good chance that all of them will be in the playoffs, though. So anyway, next up, we have a battle for the AFC West between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers. All right, so the Chiefs get a 6. The Chargers get a 5. The Chiefs barely eke out a win in that division. So that will basically make the Chiefs the number 1 seed unless the Steelers end up getting the number 1 seed. You know what? We'll do a tiebreaker for that. The Steelers and the Chiefs for the number 1 seed in the AFC. Let's see, the Chiefs get a 7. The Steelers get a 1. The Chiefs are the number 1 seed. The Steelers are going to be the number 2 seed. I don't think I need to write anything down there because I have video evidence. All right, next up, we got another 3-way tie. The Eagles, the Giants, and the Commanders are all tied for the number 1 seed, or not the number 1 seed, because the Cardinals got a 12. They're the number 1 seed in the NFC. So this is for the NFC East. So here we go. We got the Eagles. They get a 1, so there's a pretty good chance that they're out of it. The Giants get a 10, and the Commanders get a 2. Jeez. Maybe that wasn't as determined as we thought. It's the Giants just destroyed both of his opponents in that one. Say that like he's a... Jeez. Like the Giants are a person, and they're not. All right, and that should do it for the regular season. Hi, so welcome back. So as I was making the playoff grids, as you can see, the AFC is already done, but the NFC, we still have another tiebreaker to do because the 49ers and Falcons both rolled 9s. So they're fighting for the last spot in the NFC, and we're going to do it live just to show that I'm not cheating. So anyway, the 49ers are going to get a 2, and the Falcons are going to get a 2 as well. So we got overtime. So we got the 49ers getting a 3. The Falcons, I dropped it. The Falcons get a 7. So the Falcons will be the last team in, and they will be the 7 seed going against the Giants. 49ers just miss out on making the playoffs. Welcome back. We got the playoffs, baby. And as you can see, I made the draft order. Over here, the Las Vegas Raiders ended up getting the #1 pick. And the Niners, who just missed out on the playoffs, ended up getting the 18th overall pick. So they're the best of the rest. So anyway, let's get these playoffs started. We got the Houston Texans, the 7 seed, going against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the 2 seed. This is a great game because they had an 11-12 in the last round. Let's see, the Texans roll a 4. The Steelers roll a 5. So that means that the Steelers are moving on. The Texans are out. Next up, we got the 6 seed Jacksonville Jaguars versus the 3 seed Indianapolis Colts. Division matchup. Let's see what happens here. Jaguars roll a 3. That fell off. Colts roll a 12. A dominating victory for the Colts. And that will send the Jaguars out. And next up, we got the 4 seed Chargers versus the weakest team in the playoffs overall, the Patriots, who only rolled a 7 but still won their division. So anyway, the Chargers are going to roll a 2. The Patriots roll a 4. The Patriots upset the Chargers. Pretty big upset. So that means that it will be the Patriots and Chiefs and the Colts and Steelers in the divisional round. So let's move on to the NFC. We got the Falcons and the Giants going at it. 7 and 2 seed. The Falcons are going to roll a 10. And the Giants are going to roll a 5. So a shocking upset once again. And that will put the Falcons in the divisional round. That will automatically clinch them a game against the Arizona Cardinals, who were the #1 seed. So anyway, next up we got the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the New Orleans Saints for the 3 and 6 seeds. The Philadelphia Eagles roll a 1, and the Saints also roll a 1. We got an overtime game. Must be like a 3-3 overtime game. And it'll be the Eagles with a 1 again, and the Saints with a 10. So the Saints win, Eagles are out, and that is technically also an upset, even though it was a 11 and 10 last time. Next up, we got the Commanders as the 5 seed versus the Packers, who are the 4 seed. The Commanders, just threw it off. Commanders roll a 5. Packers roll an 11. So the Packers move on. Seems like the NFC East were complete frauds. And it'll be the Saints getting another home game against the Green Bay Packers in the divisional round. So, yep. All right, now we got the divisional round. The wild card round losers are all over here. And now, let's see, the Patriots take on the Kansas City Chiefs for a spot in the AFC Championship game. The Patriots roll a 10, and the Chiefs roll a 1. Oh my goodness, what an upset. The Patriots are going to the AFC Championship game as the weakest team going into the playoffs. Next up, we got the Colts, and we got the Steelers. Right, the Colts are going to roll. That's at 11. The Steelers are going to roll a 4. So the Colts go to the AFC Championship game as well. The AFC Championship game will be in Indianapolis in this randomized universe. Next up, we got the Falcons taking on the Cardinals. The 7 seed taking on the 1 seed. Can the Falcons upset the big bad Cardinals? And that is still on there. The Falcons roll an 8. The Cardinals roll a 3, so yes, they absolutely can upset the big bad Cardinals. The Falcons are going to the NFC Championship game, and the Cardinals are 1 and done. Next up, we got the Packers and the Saints. Saints trying to make this an all NFC South NFC Championship game. The Packers roll a 5, and the Saints roll a 4, so the Packers barely upset And that'll send the Packers to the NFC Championship game, which will be in Lambeau in this universe. So there are your conference championship games. Absolutely nothing like how the scores were in the regular season. All right, here we go. Conference championship weekend in the randomized universe. We got the New England Patriots taking on the Indianapolis Colts for a spot in the Super Bowl. Patriots roll a 12. That's really good for them. Let's see what the Colts can do. They roll a 4. Patriots are going to the Super Bowl for the AFC. And the Colts are going home. Next up, we got the Falcons taking on the Packers in the NFC Championship game. Let's see which one will face New England in the Super Bowl. Falcons roll a 12. Packers roll a 3. It'll be a Falcons-Patriots Super Bowl in the randomized universe. And the Green Bay Packers are going to mock draft season. Alrighty, guys, it is Super Bowl time in the randomized universe. Two teams that probably were not expected to be in the Super Bowl at all if this was a real season. The Patriots, who came in with a originally rolled 7 in the first round to barely even qualify for the playoffs, considering that the Bengals and Titans both tied with them for their roles, but they got in because they won the division. And the Falcons, who got in off of a tiebreaker with the 49ers to get the 7 seed. So anyway, for the Super Bowl, we are going to be doing it differently. We're going to do 3 rolls for each team. And whichever one adds up to the most is the Super Bowl champion. So first off, let's do the Patriots 3 rolls. The first roll for the Patriots is 3. The second roll for the Patriots is 6. 3 plus 6 is 9. The third roll for the Patriots is a 1. So their total score is 10. If the Falcons roll a 10 here, they automatically tie it. If they roll above it, they're going to win the Super Bowl. And they roll a 5 there. So they're already halfway there. And they're going to get an 11 there. So that is going to be a Super Bowl championship for the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are your randomized NFL champions, which is insane because they don't have one in real life. And luckily this isn't real life because I would not like a Falcons Super Bowl personally. But I wouldn't like a Patriots Super Bowl either. So here we are. So congratulations to the Atlanta Falcons. Like this video if you want me to do this again. And I will see you all in the next one.